Almost late, but look at that. We made it. Yes, the answer is yes. Imagine. Oh, man. I gotta show you guys this case I bought, though, for my Switch, man. I find it kind of funny. First, let me get to the chapter. Chapter's already ready. We got 2 hours. I missed the gym in the morning. Yo, what's up, dude? What's up, guys? I missed the gym in the morning, so I do have to be at the gym in 3 hours. So the plan is stream 2 hours and then work out with the missus in like 3 hours. That's the goal. That is the goal. Let me put chat on screen for you guys, and then we're just going to go straight into the reading. Zero Strawling, never have a bruh. I ruined your Discord server. It's cooked. What happened? What happened? What'd I miss? Hey, man. Do we need to do like a... Do we need to wipe it? Do we need a reset? Do we need a reset general? I think it's cool. If it's cooked, we'll reset general one day. At the end of the year, we'll do a wipe and we'll reset it. Look, so I bought this pretty cool case, right, for the Switch 2. But here's the thing. I didn't realize the year says 1969. With lots of brain cells? Oh, that's not good. What happened? Well, we're here to recover it. We're here to recover. Let me raise the volume, and then we're going to go straight into it. Let's raise the volume a bit. I'll just loop this for a bit. Yo, what's up, Philip? What's up, dude? Dude, thank you for being a member. All right. Before I start, let me check memory. Give me a sec. I need to delete yesterday's read-through of Lord of the Mysteries. So I apologize. I think we Stratford was, and she shook as though it was on the brink of breaking apart. Fuck, that was such a good fight, though. Give me a sec. Which one was this one? Had a pretty good day of college today. That's what's up, dude. Congrats. Hey, all right, I gotta delete this. Fuck, man. All right, hold up. I actually have to delete this. Give me a sec. I'm trying to make as much space as I can. Are you sure you want to permanently delete this file? Yes, delete. And let's save these 22 gigs. So 1 hour is 20 gigs. I'm about at 189. Okay, so after this, I need to start backing everything up. Group live stream is checked and open. This is open. I'm gonna close this. Open chat. Group channel content. Beautiful. Awesome. All right, we're good. Hello. Cool, man. All right. And wait, let me open up OBS. Perfect. All right. Without even stalling, we're going to jump right into it. Imagine we deleted the audio. That would have been funny. Yeah, I have to delete videos because I'm running out of space. I have to start backing everything up on the cloud, man. It's getting bad. I need to buy another SSD for this bad boy. She's running out of space, man. I forgot what I named her. I think I named her Snow, but she's running out of space, and we need to update her. We need more memory on this bitch. I swear in the beginning, I think it's fine. If you like what you guys are going to see, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and look. Quick funny thing: I bought this pretty cool case, but I didn't realize the year on this case. It's kind of funny. But you know what? We need to buy more storage spaces in bulk. You know what's cool? This intro scuffed, but it's okay. We're no stalling. We're going straight into it. We got an hour and 55 minutes to read and stream because I missed the gym today in the morning. And your boy can't get fat. I gotta stay shape. I gotta stay healthy. We got 10 years of Lord of the Mysteries content, and we must be A-okay. And before I forget, I think I'm gonna try and convince the missus to join me on stream before episode 11 drops on Friday. I'm just saying, we was make him stop fulfill the prophecy. No, before our intro. Don't worry, we haven't done our honorific intro yet. The missus confirmed to help me put on some makeup on Friday. Can't say what kind of makeup, you know. Maybe if you guys can figure it out, be a little coincidental, you know, if you ask me. But I convinced her to help me put on some makeup on Friday. So we're gonna put on some makeup on Friday. But I'm gonna see if I can get her out of her comfort zone even more. I'm gonna try and push her a little bit. I think D got it. I'm gonna see if I can push her just a bit. I'm gonna try and see if I can nudge her a little bit and be like, let's do it live. I don't think we'll be able to do it live. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm sure we can't tell. Maybe I just want to wear some like mascara, bro. Maybe I'm just trying to like set up a foundation, bro. You know, you guys don't know. You don't know. But that being said, let's jump straight into the stream today. There's just no way we can guess, like, what could it be? A sailor? The Audrey cosplay? That username got it. He's like, finally the Audrey cosplay. Well, let's start reading chapter 1022. And before the Smurf face paint, yeah, we're just gonna go all blue. The reader who saw us for eternity, the tamer and beasts and dogs, the one who farms LOTM. Easy geeky. Oh shit, the Demoness arc? I don't know about that one, brothers and sisters. I don't know, man. I'm kind of down to take out the wig. Oh, that'd be funny. We already have the Demoness arc. Wait. Oh shit, you're right. Wait. If we got I gotta pause it. If we have Sharon, that means we're getting more Sharon next episode. Because right after the interrogation thing, it's when they snuck into... Oh, episode 11 is going to be a good episode then. Episode 11 is going to be the Demoness shit. Episode 12 is going to be everything leading up to the Quillingus incident before it gets cut. And episode 13 would be all the Migu shit. Oh. Hey, you know what? I think we're going to have to take out the wig. All right, you know what? I'll make an exception. We will take out the wig and do the clown makeup. I just spoiled it. I am down to do that for episode 11. Let's get straight into today's stream, though. I mean, today's read-through. Episode 11 is my fave non-final episode. Some of you... Wait, don't confirm what's going to happen. I assume some of you guys probably already watched it. But let's read chapter 1022. Let me do my timestamp before I forget. Oh, okay. All right, you know what? I'm fucking down. I'm down to take out the wig. I'm going to take out the wig. I'm going to start, like, combing it. Who's in charge of roles in Discord? Romero, OG, Ama, and me. I think that's the four of us. And I believe we added somebody else. Did we add D? I don't remember. I think we added D. D or username? I think we added D and username for roles. I don't know. I'll double check. I'll double check right now after. But let's get reading. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun on Sunday reading a different series just to kind of like cleanse my head from Lord of the Mysteries and kind of like read other things, right? I'm a beyonder, not a professor. No, not maybe before. Not me now, maybe before. Okay, give me mod powers. I got you guys. I got you. Everybody gets mod today. Everybody gets mod. You get a mod. You get a mod. You get a car. You get a mod. You get a professor role. Everybody gets a professor role today. All right, timestamp. We're good. We're ready. How do you get a sequence role? Bullseye. I don't remember. I think. I don't remember. I thought we had a roles section. I'll double check. It's been so long since I've looked into that. I'll be honest, I actually don't remember. Romero was the one that helped me out a lot, but I know he's been kind of busy right now. But he's the one that's been kind of helping me out, at least when it comes to until I got way too much unk energy to figure that out. I kind of forgot. You go to the roles section and pick. Thank you, Unhinged. Thank you. Chapter 1022, and hopefully we didn't solve for too long, is called Answer. Amidst the violence... Okay, we're continuing from the fight. Amidst the violent hurricane, Viscount Stratford was like a helpless leaf that was pitifully thrown down as though he could be torn into pieces at any moment. I think I should play battle music. Good thing I already have it open. Good thing I already have it open. Look at that. I still have it open. Thank you, love. Thank you, guys. In this state, he couldn't react at all, much less speak. All he could do was rely on the disciplining paladin's powerful body to barely hold on, hoping that he wouldn't lose a limb or head inside this terrifying hurricane. He originally believed that the hunt hadn't succeeded and that Trixie's capture was at hand. Furthermore, he was extremely certain that his target didn't have helpers, hence all his attention was focused on Charmaine. To his surprise, he suddenly became the prey and fell into a trap without any prior warning. Upon realization that the hurricane was beginning to weaken and that he had only suffered some damage from the impact and didn't receive any fatal wounds, Viscount Stratford hurriedly tried to regain control of his body in preparation for the upcoming battle. At that moment, he felt a stabbing pain in his head, which felt as though a sharp dagger had been impaled into it before twisting a few times. This feeling was something that Viscount Stratford felt both familiar and unfamiliar. This is because although he had never experienced it directly before, he had attempted it over several times to observe the reactions. This was one of the beyond powers he was most proficient in. Psychic piercing. Oh shit, yo, what's up, dude? Psychic piercing, bang. Yo, what's up? You started to stream late at night? No. I think this is the same usual time from before. On Sunday, I streamed a little bit later than usual. That was for sure. Bang. Upon being attacked, Viscount Stratford. What happened? Did my thing cut? Oh, that's weird. Oh. That's weird. The music just cut for me. I know what I must do. Okay, we're good. Sorry, the music is back. F1 is peaking on light. Dude, I can talk about that all day, but I won't on this stream. But I can talk about F1 all day. I don't forgive easy for that. I apologize. Upon being attacked, Viscount Stratford, who had failed to adjust his psychic state, slammed into the ground hard as bronze cross loudly fell several meters away. Tap, tap, tap. Shield held Wintry. I forgot how to pronounce it. Wintry blade and took a huge stride, dashing straight for Viscount Stratford, who was struggling to get up. As for Force, she had already flipped through Layman's Travels and flipped it open to a page that resembled a goatskin parchment. As her figure slid across the page, Viscount Stratford showed signs which had surfaced once again came to life, condensing into black chains that wrapped around his targets, binding him tightly. Viscount Stratford, who had just managed to catch his breath and become alert, still hadn't had the opportunity to choose the target for his punishment and apply certain restrictions when he once again lost his freedom. Even his mouth was bound by shadow and chain. Abyss chain. Damn, what a badass ability. Abyss chain. It was Abyss's chain from the Sanguine or the Moon Pathways mid-sequence Beyonders. Force had used it once again and was rather fond of this Beyonder power. She found it very useful, so she had spent gold pounds to get Mr. Moon, who had become a Viscount, to record it. Bang. At this moment, Viscount Stratford suddenly unleashed a power that surpassed his previous strength, tearing the shadow chain apart. He had chosen the binding restrictions him to a targeted punishment, but at that moment, Shio had already rushed in front of him with a high-speed train, thrusting the transparent triangular blade. Amidst a splotching sound, the wintry blade snapped into the target's abdomen. Viscount Stratford's body stiffened once again as his eyes glazed over as though he had turned into an ice sculpture. I think he muted himself. No, that'd be funny. Actually, damn, you scared me for a second, bro. You scared me. She released her hand and allowed wintry blade to remain stabbed into the stomach of the captain of the Royal Guard, seemingly hoping that the wraith which might have existed on the weapon would continue possessing her target and forcibly bring him under control. He's going on overdrive. Yeah, he was rest. Yeah, Sunday was his rest day. Yeah, he's going overdrive today. Right on the heels of that, she swung her arm and slammed a punch right below Viscount Stratford's ears. After two heavy blows, Viscount Stratford fainted without even letting a grunt. His stiff body collapsed once again. After completing this strike, Shio left her back to Force and immediately moved past the staggering Viscount Stratford, who had wintry blade in his stomach, and dashed to Sherman, who had remained sitting on a wooden crate. Force flipped through Layman's Travels once again, using other Beyonder powers to add another layer of restrictions onto the Viscount Stratford's body. Then she walked out of the rows of the wooden crates she had been hiding behind, first approached the bronze ancient cross. The scene she saw made her suspect that it was an item at the demigod level. In the parlance of the official Beyonders, it was a grade 1 sealed artifact, and the Viscount Stratford carrying and using it, she believed that the negative effects of the cross were in that direct. She could attempt to pick it up. Of course, as a former astrologer, Force took out the pure crystal ball as she walked too quickly doing a divination. There are no problems. Force glanced at the outcome and quickened her pace. At this moment, Shio had already rushed into the front of Sherman. Looking at this friend who had turned into a rather beautiful, she was momentarily lost for words. To her, Sherman's condition was in a terrible state. This demoness's hair was floating up with each strand turning thick as if they were tiny snakes. On this end of the tiny snakes, some had eyes or mouths. They appeared extremely bizarre and terrifying. Oh man, this is good. On Sherman's face, a black paint-like mysterious pattern surfaced on her skin and was rapidly spreading across her body. Her slightly vacant eyes quickly reflected Shio as she gradually covered her spirit, and along that also came a confusion and pain. She opened her mouth and stuffed Shio. I'm in so much pain. Shio's vision instantly blurred. Is she crying when she's saying that? Shio, I'm in so much pain. Shio's vision instantly blurred. Although she was still lacking in many of the details regarding the mysterious world's general knowledge, since the Tarot Club's discussion was just way over her head, and the information she got from MI9 was mostly about the secret organizations, she still knew quite a bit about losing control. Oh no! Wait, is she dead? Among unaffiliated Beyonders, it was something they couldn't be avoided. Therefore, Shio knew that Sherman was beginning to lose control. Oh, fuck. It's over. GG, dude. Sherman was beginning to lose control. It was irreversible, and the situation would only worsen. Sherman seemed to send... I feel so bad for Sherman, dude. Sherman seemed to send her state as she grasped for breath, revealing a weak smile. She said with difficulty, "Kill me. I've done too many unspeakable sins. I've also attained what I've wanted." Shio's tears dripped down without hesitation. Oh, I'm about to cry. I'm mostly crying for Shio because she's losing a friend. I don't think we've seen enough for Sherman Tremaine. But I feel like because we've seen Shio so long, she's like losing a friend. That breaks my heart, man. Shio's tears dripped down without hesitation. She flipped her hand, drawing her backup weapon, an ordinary revolver. She then placed the revolver at Sherman's forehead. Sherman smiled as a mesmerizing charm appeared in her face once again. Call me Sherman. Oh, that is so sad. Sherman. Shio couldn't help but frown as tears began breathing in her eyes. Bang, bang, bang. Damn, man. She repeatedly pulled the trigger and fired the bullets inside. Fresh flowers bloomed at once, red and beautiful. Forrest pursed her lips unknowingly when she saw this. Damn, what the fuck? Damn. After 2 seconds, she led alongside. Wow, what the fuck? We already have a death this early on in Volume 5. Holy shit, man, I'm scared. You guys have been hyping up this volume, and I'm already getting a little emotional. I'm scared for the future. After 2 seconds, she led alongside. She bent down and reached out of the bronze cross. Just as her fingers touched the item, it felt like she had touched fire. It was hot and scalding, hot enough to burn the soul. Forrest instinctively retracted her hand, feeling alarmed and puzzled. She remembered that Viscount Stratford had never acted in such a manner before. As her thoughts raced, Forrest glanced at Viscount Stratford and kicked the bronze cross towards the nearby Shio. Give it a try. Also, we have to leave immediately. The commotion from earlier will definitely attract the official Beyonders. Also, who knows what the person who left the messenger will do. Shio, with her reddened eyes, didn't say a word. She bent down and picked up the bronze cross. She didn't feel any sense of discomfort the entire time. Forrest didn't ask why. She walked to the stiff Viscount Stratford's body and rarely looked around. After Shio put away... I'm sorry, what happened to Pele? I don't remember this. I'm trying to remember what happened to Pele. I thought she was still in the fray. I don't remember if she escaped or not, or if she's still just watching. After Shio put away the bronze cross, she picked up Charmaine's corpse and returned to Viscount Stratford's side. That item is very precious. His status is also very important. Will definitely be the target of the royal family pursuit efforts. We need to do some interference. She went after Trissy. She chased after, right? Oh, Trissy left. Oh, wait, and then she chased after. Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Cammy. I was like trying to fucking remember what happened. I felt like because I read that towards the end after reading all the other stuff, I'm like, oh, I was like, what happened to fucking Pele? The item is very precious. His status is also very important. Will definitely be the target of the royal family pursuit efforts. We need to do some interference. Forced looked down at Viscount Stratford as she muttered to herself in thought. She quickly made a decision. She raised her hand, lowered her head, and began piously chanting Mr. Fool's honorific name. She didn't believe that them giving up the bronze cross would stop the royal family from pursuing them due to being perceived to have lower priority. I'm gonna lower my volume down a bit. If it cuts out, you let me know. Perceived to lower actually no, it's still on. I can see that. Therefore, without any hesitation, she prayed to Mr. Fool for help. To her, sacrificing the item to Mr. Fool was better than staying here. Just like me, for real, chasing after Trissy. Just like all of us. Always at the same time, she saw a holy angel with 12 pairs of fiery wings. A phantom projected out of the angel as it descended from the fray, wrapped her and Shio in layers of flaming wings. Once this was over, Forrest... I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna say, I can take on Trissy and Pele. It's like, I can 2v1 them. Forrest was just about to say something. Forrest was just about to say... Forrest was just about to say... It ain't that bad. Don't look at me. Babe, I love you if you're watching. Babe, I love you from the bottom of my heart. That was engagement bait. Forrest was just about to say something when she felt her body quiver. She felt a particular sense of horror and evil permanent from the void. Anyways, in a fight. Yes, in a fight. Thank you, Cammy. In a fight. I can take them on. 2v1 in a fight. Her eyes focused as she didn't hesitate to crouch down, reaching out her hand and grabbing Shio and Viscount Stratford's calf. At the same time, the final dark green stone with burn marks on the bracelet emitted a blue and illusory light. In the blink of an eye, the bodies of Forrest and Shio, Viscount Stratford and Charmaine turned transparent and they vanished from the spot. In the seconds they left the docks area and appeared on the outskirts of St. George Borough. During this process, Forrest had even used her beyond powers as a scribe to record traveling. After observing her surroundings and confirming that there was no other way around since they were in the forests, Forrest released Shio and Viscount Stratford and straightened her body. With the blessings of Mr. Fool's angel, there shouldn't be much danger. The person who left the message won't be able to lock onto us. So they're good. Forrest heaved a sigh of relief before saying with a lingering sense of fear, the person who descended upon us towards the end was definitely a saint. Thankfully, we quickly escaped. Shio gently lowered Charmaine's corpse and said in thought, if the person who left the message was monitoring Charmaine, then she might have already found out where we live. We can't return there. Oh, so now it's compromised. We can't return there. Yes, we need to change our residence. Forrest said with great experience. Then she cast her gaze at the unconscious Viscount Stratford. You can interrogate him now. Make every second count. Hey man, how's it going? I'm doing good, dude. How you doing, Wiz? Yo, what chapter are you at, bro? People were saying you've been working hard, man, and you should take like a month off. I'm just saying. As she spoke, she handed... I'm kidding. As she spoke, she handed Layman's Travels to Shio and exhorted. There's telepathy on it and used with candlelight also. Start with the simple and unimportant questions to lower his resistance. Shio received the spellbook with a solemn expression. However, her wrist trembled, unable to hold Layman's Travels' paw. The bronze notebook dropped onto the ground, and Shio said with a frown, "It's like fire." Forrest had the same experience earlier. Wow, I haven't drank my coffee, so I'm trying to... I'll rest when I'm dead. I'll rest in the afterlife, dude. So after some thought, she said, throw that cross away and try again. Well, we're in truce, right? At least during the pre for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We don't stream during that time. We have a truce whenever there's a pre, right? We do have a truce. We have a ceasefire whenever there's an event. Shio followed her suggestions, successfully picked up Layman Travels. It cannot be held with the other mystical item. Yo, DSV, what's up? Forrest said with a nod when she saw this. Shio didn't harp on the problem, and she quickly prepared a lit candle. Then she drew Wintry Blade and relieved Viscount Stratford from his body in dazed state. After the captain of the Royal Guard gradually awakened, she triggered the corresponding page in the notebook. Viscount Stratford instantly fell into confusion, and only the faint candlelight remained in his eyes. Why did Charmaine try to approach you? Shio asking questions she had just thought of. Viscount Stratford replied blankly, she was investigating who I'm loyal to. She was taken aback as she instinctively asked, who are you really loyal to? I mean, come on, dude. Viscount Stratford slowly said, His Majesty, of course. Easy losing control. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Never have we ever. Next chapter. Let me pause the battle music. Let me do this. That's crazy, man. If I don't have caffeine before the stream, I'm not like completely focused, man. That's the one thing I'm noticing. I have my cup of coffee in the morning, right, throughout my day, and I space it out. And then I didn't drink G Fuel before I went in here to stream, just because I was running a little bit late, and I don't want to be too late. But I realized, bro, is an addict. But I realized if I don't have my jump, I'm a little out of it. But let's pause this. It genuinely helps me focus. Join the anonymous caffeine help center. We'll look at it. We'll look into it. We'll look into it. I promise you guys. Chapter 1023, Mason's Deer's Death. Mason, what do the numbers mean? Do any of you guys know that reference or nah? Mason, what do the numbers mean? His Majesty's Shield was a little confused and filled with confusion when she heard Viscount Stratford's reply. No, easy, you can't drink G Fuel until they sponsor you. Bro, what's the point of this giant G Fuel sign if I can't get the sponsor, man? She found it inexplicable. Wow, I cannot read. She found it inexplicable that Charmaine would deliberately approach this captain of the Royal Guards just to investigate where his loyalties lay. This didn't seem to be something of great importance or value. As for Viscount Stratford's answer, it was very normal and without any faults. I love Red Bull now, especially after catching up. I like it more now. But I do like me some monster. Charmaine paid with her life for such an answer. She originally wished to press for the reason behind Charmaine's investigation of such a trivial matter, but she immediately realized that it might involve key until too soon. It might cause Viscount Stratford, who hadn't entered the necessary state, to put up resistance. So she gradually held back her instinctive urge. She thought for a moment and asked, Do you know Mason Dury? Yes, Viscount Stratford answered blankly. Shield Director continued asking rather simple and unimportant questions. Who is he? He's a former captain of the Royal Guards. Viscount Stratford answered simply without elaborating. At this moment, Forrest didn't listen to the telepathy at such a superficial layer. She took out the pure crystal ball and placed it in Shield's pocket. After transferring her item, she bent down once again and carefully attempted to pick up the bronze cross. This time, amidst her trembling fingers, the soul-burning feelings didn't assault her. It allowed her to easily pick up the spiky items. As expected, this cross cannot coexist with other mystical items. I still have the moon paper figurine and the remnant spirituality of the ancient raves, but it didn't react. This means that it can coexist with items that don't contain beyond her... Wait, it can? It can... Oh, wait. Okay, it can, not can't. It can coexist with items that don't contain beyonder characteristics. Okay, that makes sense. But won't resist spirituality and strength. If that's the case, will it also reject the beyonder characteristics within my body? Oh, but it doesn't seem obvious. This is its other negative side effects, and it requires some time before it shows signs. Forrest had a general idea about this ancient bronze cross. She then worriedly stored it away in a bag that contained all kinds of ritual materials. After doing this, Forrest looked down at the silver bracelet on her wrist. She confirmed that it was completely empty and was without any accessories hanging from it. She had to use up all 5 stones that allowed her to teleport. Oh shit, so it's empty now. It took 1,000 chapters, but she went through all of them, dude. She had used up all 5 stones that allowed her to use teleport. However, Forrest no longer felt as anxious as before. Although she believed that the full moon ravings would become clearer and more terrifying with the usage of each stone, she had also knew that with Mr. Fool's help, this wasn't a problem. Over the past year, if not for her need to spend some time above the Great Fog during every full moon or blood moon, she would have almost forgotten that she was suffering the torment from all the full moon ravings. I hope that the curse will be lifted one day. I hope so. After retracting her gaze from the dull silver bracelet, Forrest couldn't help but sigh. She then sincerely thanked Mr. Fool in her heart. No matter what his real goal is, he has rescued me time and time again. It hasn't only been from the full moon ravings. This cross level doesn't seem low. I wonder if Mr. Fool will be interested and is willing to accept my sacrifice. I didn't have any good items or news to repay him for the benevolence. I finally see an opportunity. This is a common small war. I only own half of it. I wonder if Mr. Fool is willing to accept a sacrifice that I only have half the rights to. No, Shio had also been rescued by Mr. Fool before. Perhaps it might please Mr. Fool if he is satisfied. He might produce a few beyond our powers and allow me to record them in Layman's Travels. No, Layman's Travels might not be able to record a deity's power yet. It won't be able to withstand Mr. Fool's powers. The powers of an angel's under him will do too. No. I can't be too greedy. Can't be too greedy. I'll be satisfied if Mr. World can demonstrate some of his powers for me to record. Forrest thought wandered as she had expectations akin to dream. Layman, did I say it wrong? This was the instinct of a best-selling author. As for why she didn't expect anything else other than the recording of Beyond Her Powers, it was because she realized today how important and terrifying Beyond Her Powers at the demigod level were. If Layman's Travels didn't have Hurricane recorded, she and Shio might have not been able to capture Viscount Strafford. They might not even succeed in escaping. Even if she didn't include the Bronze Cross, Viscount Strafford himself was rather powerful beyond her. If he hadn't been injured by Hurricane in the beginning and left dizzy from the fall, their sneak attacks might not have reached this level of success. There was a high chance that they might have suffered a counterattack. Imagine a lazy author with the ability to use the powers of a god, even if just once. That sounds hype. Of course, separating the resplendent cross from Viscount Strafford was key to the victory of this brief battle tonight. And again, this was all thanks to Hurricane. On careful thought, if we switch to a less pressing situation, and if the Bronze Cross and the demigod powers in the notebook were excluded, Shio and I might have a chance of defeating Viscount Strafford together. We might even have quite good ones. The Beyond Her Powers recorded in the notebook are varied, and when put together, they are truly powerful. Together with the Shio's psychic piercing and the effects of Wintry Blade, in a head-on battle, it's reasonable for Viscount Strafford to be defeated if he doesn't have any special mystical items. A living scribe with rich experiences is actually this powerful. The more Forrest thought, the stranger she felt. She realized that she had become rather formidable back when they were dealing with the... Oh, I almost dropped my thing. Back when they were dealing... We're still recording? Yes. Back when they were dealing with the ancient rave, she had already come to a similar conclusion. Gotta head out now? No worries. We'll have the video up right away. And this time, their enemy, Viscount Strafford, was the captain of the royal guards of the Lowen royal family. He was at least sequence 6 and was probably sequence 5. Furthermore, he wielded an item at the demigod level. The level of his strength was clear, so this immediately allowed Forrest to benchmark her level in the world of Beyonders. Although their victory mainly stemmed from a sneak attack, a successful one was also a manifestation of one's strength. I'm already a scribe with a good combination of powers together with Layman's Travels. I'm already a rather strong sequence 5. The only problem is that I lack experience. As Forrest reflected poignantly, she cast her gaze at Shio and Viscount Strafford, continuing to listen to their questions and answers. At this moment, Shio's questions had already reached a rather key topic that could easily result in resistance. How did Mason Dury die? After asking this question, Shio's expression suddenly turned complicated and expectant. She was also in a dilemma, feeling pangs of excitement and fear. This is a question she wished to ask 8 years ago. Damn, man. Fuck, it was 8 years ago that he was killed? In these nearly 3,000 days, she had been constantly searching for an answer, but she was also afraid that the answer wasn't something she expected. She was afraid that her father was really involved in the mutiny and thus was executed, marring his reputation. Viscount Strafford then immediately answered Shio's question. He seemed to struggle before saying he discovered His Majesty's secret and tried informing the 3 churches but failed. He was executed on the spot. So for doing a good thing. He tried doing a good thing and was killed for it. She'll fall into daze for a few seconds before finally confirming the answer she received. Although this answer shocked her, it made the heart in her mouth sink back to its original position as she calmed down. Secret, His Majesty's secret, she muttered softly to herself and asked in a depressing tone, what secret? Forrest was beside her, was also shocked to the point of being dumbfounded. She never expected things to develop to this stage. At this moment, Viscount Stratford's facial muscles visibly contorted. It took him a great deal of effort to say a few words. That secret is, suddenly his body jerked violently and he fucking died, huh? His confused eyes rained their luster. No way he dies. Right on the heels of that, his body collapsed from the most minute part, instantly transforming into a ball of fireworks. Fuck. The blood-red fireworks soared into the sky and oh, blood? Red priest? Blood? Blood abilities? Red priest? Volume 5, I think was called Red Priest. Okay. Right on the heels of that, as I choke on my saliva, the blood-red fireworks soared into the sky and exploded, illuminating the night sky as they were reflected in Flora and Shio's eyes. What the? That's so sadistic. This, having experienced this previously, Forrest didn't waste any time after her eyes momentarily blanked out. She immediately crouched down and grabbed Charmaine's corpse and Shio's calf. Their figures swiftly turned transparent as they vanished from the spot, teleporting to the southern area of the bridge. Above the great fog, Klein, who was holding the sea god's scepter, saw the fireworks that stained the sky red. Back when Forrest pried to him, he had happened to be inside the magnificent palace, observing Cornus Kilgore's actions. He conveniently took in the Red Priest card and used the paper figurine he cut, stirring the powers of the mysterious space, and gave a response. During this process, he discovered that the person lying next to Miss Magician and Miss Judgment was Viscount Stratford. This was one of the targets he had placed great importance on. Although he didn't investigate him personally, he knew that there was something wrong with him. He knew the demoness Trissy was targeting him, so he had remembered his appearance and characteristics at all. Klein didn't know what the two Terror Club members were up to, but since it involved Viscount Stratford, he definitely didn't write off its importance. He directly observed He directly observed what subsequently happened to Miss Magician and Miss Judgment through the Crimson Stars. Okay, so he was able to observe. After advancing to a demigod and obtaining... Wait, so now he can see through the Crimson Stars? Rather than just, like, responding to it, you can actually just, like, kind of pierce into it? After advancing to a demigod and obtaining even more authorities, he didn't need the Terror Club members to pray directly to observe their vicinity via the Crimson Star. That was similar to specifically marking out believers, but Klein had always held great restraint towards that and had never attempted it. Okay. This made him hear Shields and Viscount Stratford's conversation, and since he knew that the underlying truth, he knew very well what the true meaning of and importance of who he was loyal to was. Who? Wait, I don't know who. I should be able to figure this out. I'm sorry. Combined with the discovery of the King's secret by the former captain of the Royal Guards, Mason Dury, and how his attempt to inform the three churches failed, Klein already had a guess. He suspected that the greatest culprit behind the Great Smog of Backland was the lone King George III. What the fuck? Wait, what? He was behind the Great Smog of Backland incident? He is the loyal His Majesty? Oh, shit. Okay. Well, next chapter, 1024. Okay, we'll go straight into it. Do my timestamp. 27 minutes. You guys gotta let me make G Fuel. I'm gonna try and read this chapter without G Fuel. If I can't make it, we're making G Fuel. This chapter. Wait, I hear noises outside. I should probably get my G Fuel already. What? Give me a sec. Give me a sec. We back. G for the choir. What's the music? It sounds so familiar. Expedition 33, brother. Expedition 33. Have you played it yet? If not, 10 out of 10 game. Highly recommend. It's one of those generational games, man. You just gotta play. I'm not saying it's the best game ever that's ever existed, right? Our Lord and our Lord's year of 2025, but it's a really good game. It's a damn good game. I think I realized what I'm gonna do. Not right now, it's okay. I think when I beat Lord of the Mysteries, when I finish reading Lord of the Mysteries, I am gonna play one of my backlog games on stream. I'm gonna play Yakuza. I'm gonna play that game on stream. I think it's a short game. It's like a 30-hour game. I just want to get through it. Beat LOTM. Yeah, we gotta beat LOTM first. But I've had all the fucking Yakuza games on PC, man. I bought a Steam sale for like $45 years ago, and I haven't even beaten 0, bro. And I have such a... I need to take off my socks. It's fucking hot in here, man. I have my fan on. I'm fucking sweating like a mother trucker. And I think that's what I'm going to do. When I beat Lord of the Mysteries, I'm going to beat Yakuza. Yeah, Yakuza 0. Kiwami. Yeah. All right, but let's beat LOTM. Chapter 1024. Traditional skills. Inside the palace above the Great Fall, Klein, who was holding the Sea God Scepter, looked at the Black Emperor card and the Tyrant card on the table in front of him with a heavy look. Although Viscount Stratford answer could only prove that King George III hid a great secret, he played a crucial role in the Great Smog Backland and was highly likely to be a mass murderer. It couldn't be said that he had spearheaded everything and was a true mastermind. After all, he might have only been a puppet, but to Klein, this was already enough. The target was clear, and he had clues to investigate what they were planning. Seeing that Miss Magician and Miss Judgment had left the area where the abnormality had happened and were practically safe, Klein retracted his gaze and continued to observe the actions of MI9 Deputy Director Conus Kilger via prayer vision. After a while, after securing the territory and confirming that no one was tailing him, Conus Kilger walked to a mountain wall and took out an object. His entire body was tainted with a ghostly blue glow, and he gradually became hazy and blurry. Then he disappeared into thin air and his whereabouts unknown, a rather special form of traveling via corporeal ritual or item that allowed him to teleport from point to point within a very short distance. Back when I came out from the underground ruins where Int Zingwil was. What ruins? Oh, from Volume 2. Oh, yeah, the underground... Yeah, the underground ruins plus in Volume 2. Yeah, I remember this. Where when Zik kind of helped him out. Where Insegwil was, I also passed through a similar door. Yes, this place isn't too far away. The mountain where Mr. A pursued me. Damn, what a coincidence we come back here. This setup needs a very suitable and secretive region without having any permission from the interior. Just holding on to an activation item might not have any effects. And when something happens, destroying the corresponding ritual can prevent enemies from entering and stop them from finding the exact location. Klein nodded in enlightenment. Combining the information with Viscount Stratford he had just revealed, he had come to the initial conclusion that the king's secret and deployed by the three factions were all hidden deep within the underground ruins. Oh, we're gonna go back in there. As long as one entered, the truth would be obtained through a careful investigation. Just to know if someone needed to warn Easy about the music, but since you're here, it's fine. Oh, like in case the music, like a music change or something. No, it's all good. Then Cammy's on the duty, man. Thank you, Cammy. Thank you as always, brother. However, the difficulty in performing the investigation became apparent, and the more he thought about it, he had to fight. I cannot read. He had to first obtain the corresponding item and using his disguise as a faceless to fool the guards, he would teleport in. None of these steps were easy. According to Rhodes, Conus Kilgore was just a demigod of the Black Emperor pathway. He also possessed a rather powerful sealed artifact. Do we know where it is? Even if Klein had made preparations, his odds of defeating the Brigadier General of MI9 wasn't too high if he didn't seek out the help of angels. Really? Much less finish him off in a stealthy manner without anyone realizing it. Furthermore, there were many difficulties in getting the help of an angel, all of them had their own extenuating circumstances that prevented them from agreeing. Even if I take down Conus Kilgore without drawing the attention of anyone, I have to consider the danger that stems from entering. Based on what previously happened, it's impossible for them to not be on guard against a faceless. a cooperation effort between the king, the psychology alchemist, and the demonist sect guarantees that their ploy is significant. It's extremely possible that there's an angel within the underground ruins. Klein frowned as he was just about a loss for a reliable angle for investigation. He tapped the edge of the long model table and decided to break out of the confines of his original thoughts and considered it from a different angle. After a few seconds later, a flash of inspiration came to him. Why do I want to complete all of these steps by myself? The king's secret and plans are likely determined from the three churches of storms. Evernight and Steam, otherwise the former captain of the Royal Guards, Mason Dree, wouldn't have attempted to inform the three churches. As a bless of the Evernight goddess, at least for now, isn't it obvious what I should be doing? This can also count towards my contributions to the exchange for the Scholar of Yore potion formula. In an instant, Klein's thoughts became extremely clear. He left the area above the gray fog without any hesitation and returned to the real world. Dressed in blue and white checkered pajamas, that's a pretty dripped out outfit. Dressed in blue and white checkered pajamas, German Sparrow raised his hand once more and made a prayer gesture. I can't even picture that. He chanted an ancient Hermes, the Evernight goddess who stands higher than the cosmos and are more eternal than eternity. You are also the Lady of Crimson, the Mother Consummate, the Empress of Misfortune and Horror, Mistress of Repose and Silence. This time, Klein didn't hold a ritual because he wasn't praying for bestowment or response. All he wanted to do was to simply describe what Viscount Stratford had said, as well as his observations regarding Conus Kilgore. Therefore, a direct prayer was sufficient. After praying, Klein exhaled and stood in a remote area of the woods, patiently awaiting the possible developments. In less than a minute, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him like a quickly sketched portrait. The newcomer was dressed in a simple robe, but the figure's of waist was a belt made of tree bark. Long hair cascaded down as the figure was barefoot. She had a pair of dark and serene eyes, and she was none other than the highest-ranking archbishop and leader of the ascetics, servant of concealment, Ariana. Good evening, ma'am Ariana. Klein bowed without a hint of surprise. Ariana glanced at him and returned to the greeting. Good evening. She didn't make any small talk as she directly asked, Conus Kilgore is nearby. Yes, less than 10 kilometers. Oh, he's asking her for help. Less than 10 kilometers away, Klein pointed in that direction. He has already used an item to vanish from his place. What shall we do next? Ariana nodded slightly and said, wait for him to come out and find an opportunity to capture him. Isn't that too direct? You look quiet and plain. A cultured person? No, Angel. Why are you so aggressive? If Conus Kilgore didn't head for the underground ruins and had gone to some other secret base, or if he wasn't too deeply involved in the king's ploys, to have the church's archbishops taking actions on MI9's top brass would definitely be breaking news. The kingdom's fracturing would only worsen. Are we actually getting a war? They talked about like war, and now we're like kingdom's fracturing would only worsen. Klein was momentarily unsure how he should respond to Ariana. Although he would definitely attack Conus Kilgore if he handled the matter himself, since the latter involvements in the slave trade and the silencing of others was enough reasoning. The problem was that the demigod of secret organization attacking a military top brass and an Orthodox Church archbishop attacking a military top brass was two completely different matters. I think us killing Conus Kilgore is definitely going to be something that like sets up a war, right? Since he's such a high profile person, I don't think they're gonna let that slide. Or then it's gonna like lead to another like high-ranking official being killed because like, oh, they probably killed him or something like that. And it's gonna lead to like some conflict maybe. As though sensing Klein's thoughts, Ariana calmly explained, "You will be the only one taking action, not me. What the fuck are you good for? You're just gonna watch war? You guys are scaring me, man." Klein was a little unsure to Her Majesty. Ariana continued, I would create a concealed world for you and provide you the necessary assistance. Battle in a concealed state, fight with the help of an angel. Klein nodded with a thought. Then where shall the ambush be? Ariana answered succinctly, in your manner manner. In there? I share the same thoughts, but I didn't want to say to myself. Klein took a deep breath and exhaled. The choice for an ambush location stemmed from a very simple logic. It was to do it when Conus Kilgore was in his most relaxed and defenseless state. Without a doubt, once Conus finished his secret mission and returned to Major Manor, he would believe that the most risky matters of the night were over. He wouldn't have his guard up. That makes sense. For the same reason, if the king's secret employees were of utmost importance, it was possible for an angel to be watching over him when he returned from the underground ruins. Once he suffered an attack, the angel would be immediately respond. Yeah, okay. So then it'd be like two angels faced off with 2 demigods. Okay, yeah, never mind. And only when Conus returned to his normal daily routine would the monitoring be retracted. Oh, so it'd be when he was home. That makes sense. When he goes back to the manor. After all, there were only a limited number of angels, so it was impossible for them to be so free. Thankfully, I used the most covert method of tailing him, and the distance was far enough. From the looks of it, Ma'am Ariana didn't place the responsibility of the battle onto me to avoid the risk and reduce the negative effects, but because maintaining a concealed state and preventing the existence inside the underground ruins from noticing the battle would drain a great deal of her energy. Amidst his racing thoughts, Klein had a better idea of how he should proceed. Why am I losing my voice? At this moment, Ariana added, the concealed world's battle won't damage the real world. That's pretty good, Klein muttered silently and said after some thought, then I need to immediately make some preparations. All right, Ariana calmly replied. She didn't even ask me what preparations I need. I was even prepared to say that I need a change of clothes. As Klein lampooned to himself, he looked down at his blue and white checkered pajamas. His left palm quickly turned transparent as he vanished from the spot. Inside Manor Manor, Klein figure blinked into existence, maintaining his appearance as Grim and Sparrow. He quickly changed his clothes and wore a top hat. Following that, he took out a piece of paper and used his finger to write. The tip of his finger spewed out a scarlet flame, leaving charred marks without burning the pieces of paper. The charred marks quickly formed a complicated symbol that was a mixture of concealment and mystery prying. With the formation of this symbol, the full body mirror in the room turned dark and aqueous light rippled. A silver outline appeared, forming one word after another. Exalted Great Master, your loyal and resilient servant Rhodes is here to answer your summoning. Do you have something you wish? Do you have something you'd like to ask me? We have so many questions. Yes, Klein nodded. What am I saying, man? I need to drink this freaking G-Fuel. Yes, Klein nodded and looked out the window. What demigod powers and powerful sealed artifacts does Conus Kilgore have? This was something he vaguely knew before. After confirming that Conus Kilgore was a target, he gathered more information and now wished to know more so as to prepare a strategy meant to target Conus. The full-body mirror Silver's words wrapped and squirmed, quickly forming new words. Great Master, Conus Kilgore is an Earl of the Fall. To hide his strength, he wields a sealed artifact that also belongs to the lower pathway. However, it also has some of the Arbiter pathway's characteristics mixed into it. It's called Concerto of Light and Shadow. Concerto. Am I saying it right? Easy Badoon manifesting. I know, man. It's definitely manifesting today. It's the Badoon Devil, man. The Badoon Devil struck again. Concerto of Light and Shadow. Oh, Shadow. I understood that Shadow Slave reference, huh? I understood that reference. Next chapter. Random anomalies. Let me do my timestamp. Give me a sec. 38. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, man. I had a lot of fun reading Shadow Slave yesterday. Mostly because of Jet. But like, I found it cool. Like, we're going to like an academy, and it's like we're gonna have like an academy art. We got baddies. I was like, hold up, Shadow Slave is pretty good. But I digress. We're gonna wait a little bit more. Okay. Woo! All right, next chapter. 1025. Damn, I'm really hoping I can convince Miss Easy to help me on stream. Put on some clown makeup. Baby, you're watching. Will you forgive me for my joke? I wouldn't know. I'm still refraining from reading it. From reading and protest. I'm still protesting. All right, next chapter. 25. Right? It's recording? Perfect. Chapter 1025 is called Random Anomalies. The full body mirror, Silver's words seem to have a life of their own as they vanish and reformed. The Concerto of Light and Shadow is a pocket watch. It can restrict certain actions in a particular area, and it can also strip certain beyond powers from the target. When the two are put together, the limitations that are created far exceed the two types. The Concerto of Light and Shadow is also able to gift certain negative side effects to the target, making him sluggish, eager, avaricious, or lose their fighting spirit, only capable of focusing his attention on money. That sounds perfect for Klein. Wait, Klein does this every day. He's completely fine. Apart from these effects, the sealed artifact wielder will also have the ability to distort the target's speech, actions, intentions, and attacks. It can reduce a lethal blow into a serious injury, or it could repel an attack, turning progression into retrogression, escaping into a leading a charge. The negative effects of Concerto of Light and Shadow are rather serious. Amongst them, the main negative effects to take note of is that once it's brought into combat, all the Beyonder effects producing in a certain region would intermittently experience random anomalies. It wouldn't distinguish between friend or foe, making it hard to control and unpredictable. That also means that Lightning Strike might also create a bolting of lightning, but it might also splash a target with a bath of cold water or summon unknown spirit world creatures. Due to this reason, Conus Kildare had deliberately sought out a mystical item that can make him sufficiently lucky at critical moments, hoping that the random intermediate effects will benefit him. It's definitely useful to a certain extent, but it's not that great. Conus Kildare also had a strange revolver. It originated from an anomaly during an evil god's sacrifice. It's called Rever's Shout of Despair. It can shout without bullets. No, it can shoot. It can shoot without bullets, and each shot possesses immense strength. It can shoot at a rapid pace, like a miniature machine gun. Targets who are hit by it will suffer Rever's Shout of Despair before he died. They will suffer different levels of pains, dizziness, and confusion. What the fuck? The biggest problem with the revolver is that the wielder will also hear the shout of despair. It just won't be too frequent. Oh, but they get like slightly affected by it. Okay. I think the music is good. I have it low enough, but I think not low enough where you can't hear it. As an Earl of the Fall, Conus Kildare no doubt had a qualitative change when it comes to the distortion and the unreasonable bestowment. In addition, he can also exploit laws and magnify effects and use disorder to disrupt order. Exploit can extend to certain states for longer periods of time or end it ahead of time. It will make the rules beneficial to himself. For example, after jumping into mid-air, the state of being away from the ground can be extended, achieving the effect of floating. Magnify can boost the effects of influence of his actions. It can make an ordinary attack become an execution. It can turn a hug. Wait, what? It can turn a hug from a distance away into restriction. He's fucking stacked, dude. Disorder will influence the structure of objects, the standards of measurement, and the accuracy of attacks. It will make a seemingly massive building collapse, causing what seems like a huge distance to be shortened to that of a few paces, as well as allowing the attacks that are aimed at him to mismark. Through magnifying, exploit, and distortion, Beyonders of the Lawyer Pathway can achieve certain things that only Beyonders of the Arbiter Pathway can accomplish. Of course, low and mid-sequence Beyonders powers of the Lawyer Pathway, like Bribe, are equally possessed by an Earl of the Fallen and are even stronger. Great Master, I finish answering your question. Is that okay? Your answer is like a guidebook. You must have been gathering information from the spirit world while delivering it. Also, you must seek praise even for matters such as this. Klein Lamputa nodded slightly. That's right. After answering a Rhodes question, he quickly got into the zone as he analyzed the powers and traits of the powerful sealed artifact which the demigod Conus Kildare had. As an Earl of the Fallen is indeed a Sequence 4 demigod existence, there are qualitative changes in various aspects. Be it bestowment, distortion, exploit, and magnify, none of them are easy to deal with. I might suffer if I'm careless. Rather, disorder isn't terrifying. It's basically an enhanced version of the Sequence 5 Mentor of Disorder power. Wait, it's basically an enhanced version of the Sequence 5 Mentor of Disorder's power? So, that's not good. But you know what? I think we can use this once we get it. The Concerto of Light and Shadow does have traits of the Arbiter Pathway domain, and the most frustrating aspect about it is that the negative side effects to a Beyonder of the Seer Pathway, my combat style is definitely closer to one of preparation, precision, and control. Once the battle begins, the moves will chain one after another. During this process, if a random deviation were to happen, the entire plan can easily be messed up and not be accomplished. It's very dangerous. And as he thought, Klein discovered that the main problem stemmed from the sealed artifact named Concerto of Light and Shadow. As a Beyonder who likes setting up traps for his enemy, Klein didn't wish that after throwing himself into a perilous situation, through this painstaking planning and hard work, he would realize that the item would summon a rabbit just as he was using a Fate Siphon Charm to switch fates with his target's turn. Wait, he can do that. I forgot about that. Was using the Fate 7 Charm to switch fates with his target and turn the tables after finishing off his opponents. Or perhaps it would turn into fireworks to celebrate the death of the user. That sounds badass. Conus Kildare can reduce the effects by raising his luck, but I cannot do it. Fortune or misfortune, that's
that's not at the angel level, won't be effective on me. However, I have the marionette winner Uni. Klein thought as he gave a Rhodes the second question. How can the intermediate random anomalies of that sealed artifact be avoided? Klein gonna have a battle of the RNG god. He's like, hopefully he's been playing gacha games. So hopefully he's ready. Silver words appeared out of the ripples of the deep mirror, forming a new sentence. There's no need to avoid it. Then what do we do? Conus Kilgore just needs to become unlucky, and for this, the demigods of the Everdine pathway are experts. Makes sense. According to this theory, relatively, as long as Conus Kilgore is more unlucky than me, I'll be the lucky one. Okay. Ma'am Ariana said that she can provide me with assistance to her secretly slipping some misfortune onto Conus Kilgore before creating the concealed state. Should be very simple and easy. Klein immediately nodded cheerfully. Very good. That's it for today. I'll summon you again if there's anything else. Yes, Master. No problem, Master. Goodbye, Master. On the full body mirror surface was a simple drawing folded by the silver words. Seeing the mirror instantly return to normal, Klein retracted his gaze and quickly simulated the battle that would happen in his mind. Gradually, he came up with an idea, and grabbing onto the flash of inspiration, he proceeded forward and refining it. After having a few tentative plans, Klein walked to the balcony and looked onto the garden in the night sky, whispering, "Can you inflict a misfortune onto Conus Kilgore before the battle?" After a brief silence, a calm and ordinary female voice rang in his ear. "Yes." "Then it's fine on my side," Klein immediately replied. Tranquility quickly returned to his surroundings. A rather cold breeze blew by, and Klein expressionlessly stared at the manor for a few seconds. Then he pressed down on his silk hat, pulled the human skin glove on his left hand, and drew Death Knell from his underlying holster. Right on the heels of that, he flicked his thumb and made the iron black revolver's cylinder spin. The night grew darker as the crimson moon occasionally tore through the clouds. Major Manor was... why am I saying major? It's mayor. Major. It's major. Why am it's so weird how I'm trying to like emphasize it. Major Manor was completely in a state of deep sleep. At this moment, a figure stealthily came from the Tussock River south bank, taking 2 to 3 steps to return to his room. He was none other than the deputy director of MI9, Conus Kilgore, who wore a white shirt and black trousers. This demigod was a stout look, surveyed the area, and didn't notice any abnormalities. He gradually revealed a smile and walked to the bar counter in the guest room. Getting a cup, he picked up a bottle of Mayor red wine. He prepared to pour some for himself to celebrate the wonderful night. At this moment, his spiritual perception was triggered as he looked up abruptly. Music change? Already? Bet. What am I playing? And you didn't update chapter? Fuck, I forgot. Really? Oh, shit. I did forget to update it. Oh, wait, no, I did update it. I just put an equal 5. Oh. Yeah, oh, that's weird. Oh, I fucked that one up. Give me a sec. Oh, that was weird. I did it again. I see what I did wrong. You guys can see that, right? Okay. Good, good, good. Awesome. Okay. What am I paying? Fight? Oh, I mean, I'll play Walls Closing In since I already have it open. Yeah, let me play Wall Closing In. I already have it open right here. Hell yeah. All right. Thank you, Kemi. That was so quick. We looked up abruptly. All right. Let me just highlight this line so I know where we are. No mysterious fool to remind us. I know, dude. I miss him to remind us. All right. Fight time. Live. Let me put this in the title. Demi God Fights. I'm gonna just put that in the title. Demigod Fights on the stream. The guy left a long time ago. Yeah, he left a while ago. All right. Do I have the music? Let me make sure the music is looping. Music is looping. We're good. A-okay. I'm gonna raise the volume a smidge, a little bit more. We're good. We're recording? Yes, we are recording, and we forgot to update like 9 minutes ago, but that's okay. He saw the buildings with a few grayish-white chimneys suddenly become covered in shadows as if they were dyed with ink. To the side of the chimneys, one of the steeple landmarks of Mayor Manor's main building, it was equally dark. The bright red moon was silently hanging behind the chimney. Badass. Concealment? Mommy Evernight? The clouds The clouds and stars high in the sky had vanished. Apart from the gigantic crimson moon, there was pitch black darkness under the night sky. The flowers and trees were clearly in front of him, but they lacked any signs of light. They were thin, as though they were a great distance away. Black and red shadows and buildings, and the silence and plants presented to themselves in front of Colonus Kildare in such a strange state. Mommy, indeed. The demigod's pupils dilated as he didn't hesitate to respond. He reached his left hand into his clothes and extended his right hand under his armpit, taking out 2 items. Amongst them, he held a strange revolver in his right palm. It was an entirely gray in color. Bigger than an ordinary revolver, it looked like it was half the size of a sledgehammer that was used in classical battles. Another unusual trait of the revolver was that it had 6 barrels, each... Why am I doing 3? We had 6, each rather thick. The mouth was dark, and its cylinder was embedded with more than 10 ugly rivets, making it have a rather crude beauty. Oh, okay. Colonus Kildare's left hand had an iron-skinned pocket watch. On the watch face, half of it was filled with neatly arranged symbols. So that's the sealed artifact. Symbols that followed from order of time, while the other half was a chaotic mess. It even intruded into the neighboring regions. On both sides, it seemed impossible to see the machinery behind them, as they formed into a structure that looked even more complex and headache-inducing. Almost at the same time, a figure embedded out of a gigantic crimson moon. It's glided... Oh, wait. A what? Almost at the same time, a figure emerged out of the gigantic crimson moon. It glided over an extremely fat speed. He grew bigger and clearer. He was a young man with black hair, brown eyes, and cut features. The young man was wearing a silk... Oh, wait. That's Klein. Okay, I was like, what the fuck is coming out of the moon? The young man was wearing a soap-top hat and a black trench coat. He held a unique revolver in one hand and a transparent human skin glove. Ah, fucking so badass. German is back, dude. And a transparent human skin glove covering the mouth. Under the bright illuminations of the surrounding, he seemed to be buried with the weight of the gigantic crimson moon, German Sparrow. Ah, that's so badass. Fucking German joins the hunt again, dude. Oh, it's been a while. All right, chapter 1026, 2 restrictions. We're going to do this quickly. We're going to up this shit quickly so we can keep reading. Oh, hell yeah. We saw the man is on the hunt. We got about 40 minutes. So I think we'll be able to finish this fight in 40 minutes. I'm feeling confident. 49 minutes, 40 seconds. All right. I'm ready. Play, resume, and now. Awesome! Look at that. We're resuming with one tap. Chapter 1026 is called 2 Restrictions. Upon seeing the young man in black trench coat appear with a black revolver in his hand, Colonus Kildare, who had no stranger to an all-important figures in the world, immediately responded. The thumb on his left hand that held the iron-skinned pocket watch was rapidly moving, reaching for one of the metal buttons of the messy inlays of the pocket watch. He suddenly raised his right arm aiming at German Sparrow with the 6 gray gun barrels that formed a circle. This process was like a fleeting spark that quickly came to an end. As for Colonus Kildare left thumb, it had pressed down. He overcame his instincts and didn't directly use restriction for the concerto of light and shadow. This was because he didn't know German Sparrow well enough, unsure as to what he was best at. Furthermore, the person with German Sparrow's appearance might not be German Sparrow. Blindly using restriction would only be a waste of an opportunity. Oh, so if he put on his paper figurine, he wouldn't be able to reuse it. He intended to observe and wait for a while longer before he came up with a more specific order to distort the laws. Bang, 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 bang. 6 shots. The strange revolver let out a roar of despair and spewed out to form a black and icy bullets instantly enveloping the enemy beneath the crimson moon. So beneath him. That's cool. At this moment, German Sparrow's figure turned transparent and incorporeal. At the same time, the bullets tore through the target into the black trench coat, tearing apart the after-minute image he left behind. And behind Colonus Kildare, German Sparrow, with a cold expression, quickly appeared. His body was half crouched, and he was leaning forward. The black top hat on his head appeared blood red under the crimson moon's illumination. Damn, that's so badass, dude. He suddenly raised the black barrel revolver in his hand, opening his mouth and slightly while aiming and squeezing a trigger. Bang. The floorboard to the right of Colonus Kildare. I gotta look up. Is there artwork on this guy? I'm feeling confident I'm not gonna get spoiled. I'm just looking up Colonus Kildare. Internet's not even load. Bro is aura farming. I don't see. I just see German, and look, I exit right away. I'm seeing a lot of German. Bro, I know. I see German, I exit. Look, easy. Can you not? I know. I was curious if there's any artwork for our thumbnail. Yeah, no artwork, no artwork. We'll send if there are images. Okay, I wanted to quickly check, but because it's so far away, it's like I can't get spoiled because the top monitor. You do the blurry eyesight, and the second I see a German silhouette, I'm like, okay, look at that, easy. I closed it in like 2 seconds. The floorboard to the right of Konus Kilgore exploded into countless fragments. Gerben Sparrow's shot had been ridiculously far off the mark. Furthermore, its destructive powers were clearly lacking. This was the distortion power of an Earl of the Fallen. It caused the bullet's trajectory to deviate and have its powers weakened. Seizing the opportunity, Konus Kilgore used disorder to influence the measurement standards, arriving above the balcony of the bedroom with one stop. Then he half-turned his body, and with a smack, he pressed one of the metal buttons on his iron-skinned pocket watch. He then solemnly said, teleportation is prohibited here. Damn. Silently, Mayor Manor, which was being illuminated by the gigantic crimson moon, experienced an unknown change. Gerben Sparrow, whose body had rapidly turned faint after firing, appeared out of the void again. So he somehow was able to do it. That's cool. Even though teleportation is prohibited, he was still able to appear out of the void again. He had failed to successfully change positions. Concerto of light and shadow restriction. To Konus Kilgore, no matter what Gerben Sparrow was good at, he had to immediately restrict his obvious abilities to teleport. An enemy who could do close quarters teleportations at high frequency wasn't only irritating, but also dangerous. Realizing that his teleportation had failed, Gerben Sparrow's expression remained unperturbed. His body quickly warped as the color faded from his body, leaving a deep darkness. Damn, welcome back, welcome back. This deep darkness suddenly collapsed across the ground, fusing with the shadows in the region where the moonlight couldn't reach, making him indistinguishable. Bang, 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 bang. 5 freaking shots. Bullets holes riddled the spot where Gerben Sparrow was previously standing, tearing the ground open. Boom. The area collapsed immediately, revealing the room before. However, no dust was thrown up. And despite such a stir, Major Manor remained blanketed in the deep shadows. No one was awakened or gave a response. Konus Kilgore suppressed his urge to restrict the action of hiding in the shadow, holding on to Revette's shout of despair and concerto of light and shadow. He calmly observed his surroundings and waited for Gerben Sparrow to appear once again before launching his attack. However, inside the collapsed room, the shadows were silent and there wasn't any movement. And outside the window with the steep-one chimneys remained immersed in an icy cold darkness, the gigantic crimson moon seemed to be hanging over the roof. The plants in the garden, the grapevines far away, and also the various classical windows seemed to degenerate into the background of the night. Despite being visible to the naked eye, there were imperturbable, I think I said it right. I think I pronounced it right. I think I did good. Imperturbable. I think I said it right. All of Mayor Manor was cold, dark, and silent, just like a forgotten corner that didn't garner the attention or incur discovery from afar. There were no signs of life at all. As a demigod, as an important figure in the intelligence community, Konus Kilgore quickly had a theory. He suspected that the person was related to the authority of concealment. Look at that. He's on the spot. This gave him many ideas, but Gerben Sparrow remained nowhere to be seen. He actually didn't sneak attack and even gave up the chance to deliver a barrage of attacks, leaving me so many openings. Doesn't he know that a high sequence beyond a lawyer or arbiter is very difficult at dealing with once they prepared prior to the battle? Shit, just like a seer, dude. A sense of puzzlement flashed across Konus Kilgore's mind. Bro is smart? He's smart, but not that smart. Not that smart. Using his observations of his surroundings and the relatively non-urgent situation, he quickly understood his current predicament. He knew that defeating Gerben Sparrow wasn't key, but escaping the concealed world was. Okay, that's smart. Maybe he is a little too smart. If he couldn't leave this place, there might be even more dangers awaiting him. As long as I can leave this dark-styled Mayor Manor, even if angels were to descend, I don't have to worry since I'm in Backland. Such artificial concealed worlds must have an opening. This is a law that cannot be avoided in the mysterious world. The usage and distortion of laws was what lawyer pathway demigods were best at. Konus Kilgore had many ideas to come to him as he quickly made a decision. He suddenly turned around and jumped from the balcony, flying off like he was a sprung that was released. This demigod of the military instantly reached a high altitude, but he didn't slow down or show any signs of falling. He maintained the speed as he went higher and higher in altitude, thus achieving flight. Earl of the Fallen exploit. This was the explosion of laws. By extending the jumping process, he could maintain a much more duration. If Konus Kilgore became a Sequence 2 angel, and he could even jump onto the Crimson Moon with the Beyonder powers, while jumping in midair, Konus Kilgore swung his right arm and released his Distorter Beyonder powers. He wanted to create a certain level of disorder in Mayor Manor and the strange world. The true exit would then be exposed through the generated ripples. Instantly, the flowers of the grapevines and backland of Mayor Manor wavered. The black steeple chimney and classical windows were covered in a faint jumping to the moon. Damn. Now I'm trying to see what else is behind the moon, dude. The black steel chimneys and classical windows were covered in a faint shadow. In the entire world, only the gigantic crimson moon, which appeared to be right beside that, didn't change. It continued hanging silently in the sky. That's the exit. Conus Kilger grasped the pattern from the distorter, and using some actual feedback, he determined where the exit was. Without any hesitation, he exerted strength in his waist and used Magnify to forcibly change the direction, allowing him to rush towards the bright red moon. At that moment, a figure appeared in front of Mayor Manor. It was none other than the cold-looking German Sparrow, who wore a black trench coat and half-top hat. Whoosh. A strong gust of wind appeared out of nowhere, sweeping German Sparrow upwards as he chased after Conus Kilgore. Amidst the wind, he raised the iron-black revolver in his right hand and pulled the trigger. Bang. A bullet flew out, exploding into countless fragments. They then turned into a storm that swept toward Conus Kilgore. Death, knell, slaughter, it was a barrage of attacks. Almost at the same time, Conus Kilgore changed directions without any warning, plummeting instead of rushing towards the moon. As an assault, he dodged the bullet storms of salt as though he was prepared for it. Now it wasn't the case, he was prepared. Although his main goal was to escape with the changed Mayor Manor, he was still worried that Gerben Sparrow would seize the opportunity to attack him. Therefore, he came up with a simple trap, planning to use his escape as bait to finish off the hidden Gerben Sparrow. He could then use the initiative to heavily injure his opponent, unless that's what Klein wants him to think. Unless he wants him to purposely lower his guard so he can catch him off guard in return. That's probably what's happening. Halfway down, Conus Kilgore figure suddenly bounced back, having distorted the direction he was heading in. This time, his destination was next point where Gerben Sparrow was flying towards. Right on the heels of that, he yanked his pocket watch wielding left hand back and grabbed Gerben Sparrow through thin air, pulling him from a distance of nearly 100 meters away to just inches before him. Earl of the Fallen, Magnify, whoosh. Amidst the howling winds, Conus Kilgore grabbed Gerben Sparrow close and pressed his strange revolver in his right hand forward. Bang, 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 bang. Rever's shout to despair released countless bullets like a machine gun, instantly turning Gerben Sparrow's body into fluttering pieces of paper. Conus Kilgore's gaze froze slightly as he immediately moved his left finger and pressed onto the metal buttons of his pocket watch. With a click, this Earl of the Fallen didn't hesitate to say in a domineering fashion, "Stand-ins are prohibited here." Just as he said that, the howling wind came to a stop. Mayor Manor returned to silence once again as it was blanketed by the dark shadows. Conus Kilgore changed directions and began spiraling in mid-air in search of Gerben Sparrow. However, there weren't any anomalies in the dark night sky. This Earl of the Fallen hesitated for a moment before preparing to continue, rushing towards the gigantic crimson moon. Outsmart your outsmarting. I outsmart your outsmarting. That's exactly what he's going to do right here. When he thinks he catches him, right back at him. At this moment, figures appeared in the garden, vineyards, and Manor's main building. They either grew or became taller, rapidly taking form. They all had black hair and brown eyes with sharp facial features. They wore silk-top hats and black trench coats. They were all Gerben Sparrow. There it is, dude. The only difference was that some of them were of normal build and some with their and then some were like super thin like a paper. Some were with their backs sunk inwards. The rest were bloated while others were just a thin layer. Some were bloated and some had thin layers. Damn. Upon seeing the scene, Conus Kilgore immediately recalled a dangerous enemy as he had once encountered. One of the leaders of Intel's intelligence department, a bizarre sorcerer. Damn, dude. Wait. One of the leaders of Intel's intelligence department is a bizarre sorcerer? Damn. Okay, that's pretty hype. That is pretty hype, dude. All right, chapter 1027 is called Deceit. All right, let's keep reading, dude. I'm fucking pumped. This is good. It's a good ass fucking fight. All right, let's do this. Yo, by the way, do any of you guys play Final Fantasy 14? I've played it all, right, on Steam. I have a Steam version, but I want to download the free trial through Windows because I know you can't play the free trial if you're already on there. Like, I get it, but I want to see if I can download if I want to see if I can download a Windows client and just make like an Easy Geeky account or something. And then see if maybe it works. I don't know. So I think it'd be pretty chill to play with you guys. If any of you guys play it. I'm not sure. It is a long-ass game, so maybe not. But I was thinking about it. He knew Roselle. Remember Zaratul. Remember what? Remember Zaratul? He knew Roselle? Shit, you're right. Okay. Wait, what are you implying? But that's not from Intel's intelligence, no? Intel's intelligence department? chapter 1000. What does Zaratul and Roselle? Remember Zaratul? Well, I know Zaratul was a bizarre sorcerer and miracle invoker. Okay. Well, chapter 1000. Did I pause? Well, no, I thought I paused. Chapter 1027 is called Deceit. After. Ooh, my stream is lagging. One sec. That means Zaratul went to Intis at some point. Zaratul is the leader of the secret order full of seers. Wait, was he also part of Intis then? One of the leaders of Oh, not okay. Just one of the leaders. Oh, so one of the leaders would have been Zaratul. That means Zaratul went to Intis at some point. Zaratul is the leader of the secret order full of seers. Bro, Zaratul was from the first epoch. No, you ain't gonna catch me with that one unhinged. All right, next chapter. 1000. Okay, thank you guys for clarifying that. I thought it was a different bizarre sorcerer. Okay, so it's implied that it's Zaratul. Got it. Thank you. Yamase. Thank you. I would not be able to do this without you guys. Thank you for always helping me out. Stop spoiling. No, he's not. Chapter 1027 is called Deceit. After Conus Kilger realized which Beyonder pathway his enemy belonged to all the German sparrows in the garden, vineyard, and main building raised their left hand. They curled their middle finger, ring finger, and pinky and extended to their index finger and thumb, making them take on the simple shape of a gun. The index finger that represented burrows and muzzles aimed at Conus Kilger in the air. Wait, what? The index fingers that represented the barrels and muzzles aimed at Conus Kilger in the air before their respective arms jerked up seemingly due to recoil. We said troll, not spoils. Oh. Stop spoiling. Oh, stop. Oh, we said troll, not spoil. God, no, you're good. Set up evenly due to recoil. Bang, 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 bang. Amidst the defeating noises, illusionary doves appeared to the side of Earl of the Fallen, who was dressed in a white shirt and black trousers. They flew at him from every direction in a spectacular sight of utmost beauty. This was a random anomaly that came from the iron skin pocket watch of Concerto of Light and Shadow. It made the air cannon which could blast through the house turn into doves of peace that didn't pose any threat. Bro, I was being serious and he thought I was lying? Oh, wait, hold up. We'll chill. Wait, if you are being serious, I don't even remember what we're talking about. I'll explain better when I'm on my PC. No, you're okay. All right, bet. You guys let me know. We'll go over what happened right now. I don't know what actually happened. I did Unhinged say something that wasn't a troll? Was it a spoil? If it was, it's okay. I won't read too much into it. Having used this order to disrupt the enemy's collective volley, Conus Kilger, and if it was, I assume it was an accident, Conus Kilger wasn't surprised to see the doves fly up and disperse into the thin air, just like in episode 11. Well, I mean, in episode 10. He was already mentally prepared. He had already endured the negative effects of that sealed artifact had brought for years. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he didn't hesitate to raise his hands, which held the iron skin pocket watch and revolver, doing so in a bid to make them collide. This was distortion one that targeted all of German sparrows beneath him. Is going to get all of them. To Conus Kilger, what frustrated him the most was fighting a bizarre sorcerer that was unable to tell if the enemy he faced was a marionette or the actual person, unless the marionette was of a very crude level. Damn, that's smart. He wouldn't even be able to know. I'm going to lower the volume just a smidge more. As such, he had many beyond powers he didn't dare to use because they were ineffective against marionettes. Oh, he's trying to wait. A large-scale prohibition effect was still alright, but a single target deprivation was meaningless in actual combat. No matter how many beyond powers of a marionette was deprived, it didn't affect the actual body. When that happened, his opponent just needed to switch marionettes to resolve the problem. Due to similar reasons, using Magnify on the mystical items of the marionette was temporarily ridden over Conus Kilger with a strategic purpose. Similarly, an Earl of the Fallen's bestowment was of no use. It was even inferior to deprivation, as it could cause a bizarre sorcerer's marionettes to lose its corresponding beyond powers. However, the negative effects bestowed to a marionette was unable to interfere with it at all, be it turning them sluggish, losing the will to fight, making them turn anxious, or only focus on money. It was meaningless to a marionette who was in essence dead, without an ability to think or inclinations to take action. This is a good counter, dude. We got CHE. Therefore, Conus Kilger decided to first resolve the problem of identifying marionettes in the actual body. And he ain't there, bro. He's gone, dude. He's far away. In this aspect, others might not have a solution, but a high sequence beyond of the lawyer pathway definitely didn't have such worries. There were rules to everything, and everything followed certain rules. As a lawyer demigod, they were good at finding whatever loopholes that is part of a lawyer. They're good at finding whatever loopholes there were to exploit them for defensives, together with his combat experiences fighting other bizarre sorcerers, and how he had seriously considered solutions for dealing with them during the aftermath. Conus Kilgore was quite certain that distortion could suppress his enemy. He knew that bizarre sorcerers could seemingly switch between their actual body and marionettes. He planned on doing distorting that makes them bizarre sorcerer only able to switch to 2 to 3 marionettes. This way, the difficulty of my freaking finger hurts. This way, the difficulty of identifying the actual body with the marionette would be minimized. Of course, if it wasn't for the fact that distortion couldn't exceed certain limits, the area-oriented prohibition effects had retached its limit, Conus Kilgore definitely would have used a simpler method to deal with his opponent, such as forcing the bizarre sorcerer to only be able to swap with one marionette, or he would prohibit swapping his marionette's paw. Conus Kilgore smashed the Redelt's Shout of Despair and Concerto of Light and Shadow together as though he had compressing a large area to a small area. Earl of the Fallen Distortion. Silently, he preceded a red glow with a deep shadow in his hand. It appeared as though he was offering it to German sparrows in the garden, vineyard, and the main building. As for the thick and thin, normally terrifying crazy adventures, none of them experienced any abnormalities. Conus Kilgore also suffered a random anomaly, one brought about by Concerto of Light and Shadow. It had changed the distortion effects to summoning a flower from the garden below. Cinema. Mr. E is locked in a little bit, just a little bit locked in. It had changed the distortion effects to summoning a flower from the garden below. And at that moment, the air cannons that had turned into illusionary doves continued. Wait, the air cannons turned into illusionary doves continued. So it's the bombardment continues. At that moment, the battle between two demigods turned ludicrous, comical, and funny. This is so cool, dude. Of course, be it German Sparrow or Conus Kilgore, none of them thought that was the case, especially the latter. He once again felt a familiar sense of helplessness. He didn't hesitate as he slammed his palms together again. Completing the distortion, he wanted to rely on quantity to resist the random anomaly effect. However, German Sparrow wasn't a dead person who would abide by etiquette or of turn-based combat. Oh, I guess he hasn't played Expedition 33. Well, you still have QTEs in turn-based combat, so we'll let it slide. Who would abide by the etiquette of turn-based combat. The large swath of crazy adventurers either raised their hand in firing stances or used a death knell with questionable authenticity, aiming at the Earl of the Fallen in midair. Meanwhile, Conus Kilgore's heart stirred. He turned his head slightly to look up and saw that the figure had appeared once again inside the gigantic crimson moon that hung above the black steeple. The figure was wearing a soap-top hat, a black trench coat, a human skin glove, and an iron black revolver. He had once a cold expression and a deep outline. He was another German Sparrow. The crimson moon seemed to weigh down on his shoulders as he glided down. His body expanded and turning clearer into the process. As for the iron black long-barreled revolver in his hand, he had already lifted it and aimed it at Conus Kilgore. Bang, bang. A bullet that had transparent and translucent sections to it shot out from the muzzle, heading straight for Conus Kilgore. This was a deprivation bullet, one which was created using a worm of time that Amon's avatar had left behind. It was different from the Arbiter Pathway's deprivation. In essence, it was theft. It could steal the last 3 Beyonder powers that target had used and become empowered with the ability to use them. However, as long as the Arbiter Pathway's deprivation selected a target, then they could directly deprive them of their ability. Although their bullet's deprivation effect didn't require contact in order to be effective, the target needed to be within a certain range and unable to leave the area. In short, one was unavailable and could only be resisted or weakened through one's level of sequences or characteristics, while the other could effectively be dodged if the shot was detected ahead of time. Klein had given up on a sneak attack and had stalled for time, and on the other hand, he wanted Conus Kilgore to use all of his prohibition and deprivation powers on Beyonder powers that appeared important to him. On the other hand, he was also waiting for the first random anomaly to happen. Then he would seize the gap in between the two anomalies to steal Conus Kilgore's 3 most Then he would seize the gap in between the two anomalies to steal Conus Kilgore's 3 most powerful powers with deprivation bullets, okay? For these 2 goals, he even handed Death Knell and Creeping Hunger to Winner Uni, so he'd be more lucky than him, and made him appear like the real German Sparrow instead of a marionette, okay? And then you give him everything. From the current developments, Colin Kilgore was about to lose Distortion, Disorder, and Magnify, okay? Bang, 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 bang. That literally, what we were saying earlier, I outsmarted your outsmart. The ambassador of Intis in Volume 2 sent Rosalgo a marionette to get rid of Klein. Yes. Yeah, I remember during the whole thing with Intis. Rosalgo was an intelligence officer under the ambassador. Okay, I remember that. He was an intelligence spy. Now we are told that one of the leaders of Intis intelligence is a bizarre sorcerer. Oh, so there was somebody of a higher ranking than Rosalgo. That's a bizarre sorcerer. Oh, that makes sense then, because he was part of the seer pathway. It would make sense that there's somebody else that's also part of the seer pathway. Wow, I forgot about that. I fucking forgot he was also part of the seer pathway. He was a fake seer because he wasn't that good. But I forgot about that. Thank you. Add to that, Zartul, the leader of the Secret Order, which is a seer organization. We can see that there is a lot of seers in Intis. Oh, dude, there has to be an Intis arc. If Intis is that, oh my god, wait a second. If Intis is that full with fucking seer, oh my god. We're gonna go to war against Intis, right? And then when we're in Intis, we're gonna face off against all, oh my god, it's gonna be like a seer free-for-all during an Intis war, right? Like Intis and Backland, like somebody's gonna go at war. Intis is gonna get involved. We invade Intis and we start facing off against, oh man, it's gonna be so good. Oh shit, it's gonna be like a, oh my god, it's gonna be like a giant ass battlefield. Oh my god, it's gonna be like a giant ass battlefield of just fucking seers doing all these, like, oh my, oh dude, I'm about to bust. Oh, it's gonna be so fucking good. That'd be like the easiest way for Klein to fucking advance. Battle Royale of Seers is the greatest fraud. Bro, that is gonna be so good if that happens. That shit better happen. I better see a Battle Royale of just fucking Seers and Klein is like, oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fucking goated. That has to be volume 5. Volume 6. Volume 7, volume 8. It has to be one of these volumes. Suddenly, oh, I almost dropped my mic. Suddenly, the air cannon's deprivation bullets exploded, turning into red, purple, yellow, or green fireworks. However, they were unable to illuminate the deep, dark sky. Concerto of Light and Shadow had once again created a random anomaly. It had produced its effects several times in a row without any pauses or delays. Coldness Kilgore immediately smiled and slammed his head together again. All of a sudden, the young man wearing silk-top hats and black trench coat under the gigantic crimson moon illumination turned gloomy. Only 2 maintained their previous states. The Earl of the Fallen of Distortion had taken effect. This meant that German Sparrow could only switch places with those 2 normal marionettes. Right on the heels of that, Coldness Kilgore didn't hesitate at all. He swung his arms and threw out the flower that was held together with the pocket of his watch. Watch out. The flower sped up and seemed to gain weight of unknown origins. Like an arrow, it shot towards one of the normal marionettes. Give me a sec.
Bro is fighting a battle we have no clue about. Oh, 100 bizarre sorcerers in the city of 5 million. Last one standing wins. I mean, my condolences. I'm sorry. I was fighting a battle. I was fighting my own battlefield right now. Did you break into his house again? I was going through my own battle right now, but we're good. We're good. We made it. We made it. Hopefully this fight ends really soon. We have about 20 minutes before stream ends. We might be able to knock out one more chapter. This chapter was called Conus Kilgore, right? Chapter. This chapter was him, right? 1027. Oh, that's weird. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going. Your break into... No, but we're good. We're back. We're good. Bro was suddenly hit with a wave of perplexion. All right, hold up. Let me find my place. I believe I found my place. All right, we're back. We're back. We're back. This meant that German Sparrow could only switch places with those two normal marionettes. Wait, let me go up one. All of a sudden, the young man wearing a soap top hat and black teeth and black trench coats under his gigantic crimson moon illumination turned gloomy. Only two maintained their previous states. Wait. The Earl of the Fallen Distortion had taken effect. This meant that German Sparrow... You're muted? No, I'm not. This meant that German Sparrow could only switch places with those two normal marionettes. No, see, you almost got me, guys. You almost got me. Two marionettes. Right on the heels of that, Conus Killer didn't hesitate at all. He swung his arm and threw... I can hear it. He swung his arm and threw out the flower that was held together with a pocket watch out. The flower sped up and seemed to gain a weight of unknown origins. Like an arrow, it shot towards one of the normal marionettes. This attack might have magnified and also came with the effects of bribe, weaken, boom. The flower was like a cannon that crashed heavily into the ground, causing a violent quake. The surging waves it stirred up through the ordinary and unordinary humans in the vicinity, tearing or severely injuring them. The two marionettes, which German Sparrow could swap, which had been reduced to pieces of meat. Damn. Conus Kilgore maintained his calm as he distorted his trajectory in midair and circled the area while in flight. He raised his revolt shout of despair and aimed at a German Sparrow that had descended from the Crimson Moon. At the same time, he silently prepared a bestowment. He wanted to give his target the negative states of lacking the will to fight. But at that moment, Conus Kilgore's mind suddenly turned adrift as his thoughts turned sluggish. This turning into a marionette, Conus Kilgore's mental state stiffened as he suddenly... Okay, so he got him. This turning into a marionette, Conus Kilgore's mental state stiffened as he suddened his current situation. He then saw German Sparrow, who had descended from the Crimson Moon. He's coming from the moon again. Who had descended from the Crimson Moon, wasn't as far away from him as before. Then the distance between them was only about 100 meters, 300 feet. He had unknowingly entered the range where the spirit body threads could be controlled. So 300 feet is like the range where it can be controlled. He had stayed there for at least 3 seconds without realizing it. Deceit. A deceit bullet made from Amon's... Oh, a deceit bullet made from Amon's avatar. When Klein, who was actually Winner Uni, had pulled the trigger, he hadn't only fired a deprivation bullet, but actually fired... So he fired 2 times. One was a deprivation bullet, but that was to catch him off guard. The real bullet... The real thing he was aiming for was the deceit bullet. This was to prevent any random anomalies from happening. With an anomaly having happened once, even if another anomaly were to happen again, only one of the 2 bullets that had been fired in intervals that were slightly spaced apart would be affected. After all, it was an intermediate random anomaly. It was possible to have it happen 2 to 3 times consecutively, but 4 or 5 consecutive occurrences were rare. Therefore, by attacking numerous times, there would be at least 1 or more instances that wouldn't suffer an anomaly. Clown outsmarted Luck. Long story short, he actually did outsmart Luck. Just now, the firing of a second deceit bullet had been concealed by a collective volley from his marionettes. I have to reread this off stream. This was also why Klein made Winner Uni use Death Note. It was to rely on his luck. Finally, he successfully he's relying... Okay. Because of Uni. Finally, he successfully deceived Conus Kilgore and allowed Winner Uni to secretly enter a safe distance of 150 meters from him and begin controlling his spirit body threads and obtained initial control. The moment this began, it meant that the Beyonder powers were taking effect. Since there weren't any anomalies, it meant that they wouldn't be anyone. Damn. What the fuck? I think we have time for one more chapter. Holy shit. This is getting really good, dude. Uni. This is getting really good. Iuni. My bad. Iuni.
Uni. 1 hour, 17 minutes, 6 seconds. Uni. You keep saying uni instead of inui. Oh, inui. We did inuni. Inuni. Chapter 1028 is called Saving Himself. Iuni. Is Iuni going to save himself in our final chapter for today? Let's find out if Iuni and Uni made it out. Damn, we went over this like a stream or two ago. I'm sorry. No good. Oh no, my spirit body threads have been controlled by him. Having met faceless beyonders, marionettes, and bizarre sorcerers, and even fighting senior beyonders. Am we recording? Timestamp? Yes, we're good. Beyonders and demigods, Conus Kilger wasn't unfamiliar with the predicament he was in. He was even rather familiar with it and knew quite a bit. So does he know how to escape? Therefore, he knew very well that he had fallen into a lethal trap. This time he had left to save himself didn't exceed 15 seconds, so he has 15 seconds before he's screwed. N-U is pronounced like W. No, you're freaking trolling me, Unhinged. It is not that. That is not what we went over last time. I at least remember how we were trying to pronounce it. Attempting to pronounce it. That was definitely not it. There was no silent W's. And in these 15 seconds, his thoughts would turn more and more sluggish. Then, at the speed at which he could come up with solutions would slow down. Towards the end, just as the thought of a solution would take him several seconds, yet his stiffened old body would require plenty of time to actualize his thoughts. This also meant that he had about 10 seconds to save himself. Of course, he had considered the corresponding responding for the last few seconds. It was to abandon his body's control and reveal his mythical creature form. Through this, he could delay the time it took to become a marionette and then use his existence to disrupt the enemy, dealing a blow to them to a certain extent. However, by doing so, even if he had escaped the fate of becoming a marionette and even managed to defeat his enemy, Conus Kilger didn't have much confidence in continuing to live. I wonder if you'd technically be able to control a person that lost control. Like, we did that when they're already in their crazy state. I wonder if you can then turn up. I don't think we've seen an example of them, of a Beyonder that fully lost control and had like a mythical creature form, and then we took control and turned him into a marionette. We haven't seen that exactly happen. Kilger didn't have much confidence in continuing to live. He wasn't a demigod who could freely switch between his human form and mythical creature form. He didn't have the confidence that he could maintain his rationale in a mythical creature form. In other words, the outcome of escaping the fate of becoming a marionette by releasing his mythical creature form likely meant that the human Conus Kilger would die, while a monster of the same name would occupy his body. Because of that outcome, Conus Kilger wouldn't make such an attempt unless it was necessary. While his thoughts weren't too sluggish, and with how he could hear Revere's shout of despair in his ears, this demigod of the military quickly came up with his first plan to save himself. He moved his right thumb at the speed that couldn't be considered slow. Earl of the Fallen, magnify. Conus Kilger didn't wish to magnify a particular state of his or the attack of a particular sealed artifact. Instead, it was to use a magnify reverse shout of despair's side effects. The special revolver allowed the wielder to hear the roar of despair from time to time, a rather serious blow to the creatures without godhood, easily punching them with the brink of losing control. To madness, to a mental breakdown, or how is he going to use this to break free? To a mental breakdown or a mind blanking at a sequence where the effects of the roar was generally mitigated once his body possesses the characteristics of a mythical creature. To Conus Kilger, the roar was enough to turn his mind adrift and generate irresistible mood swings. It didn't have much of an effect on him, and he had already gotten used to it. At this moment, he wanted to magnify the roar of despair to a state where even a demigod would be able to tolerate it. He wanted to use the pain that came from the psychic piercing in his mind to escape the state of having spirit body threads becoming controlled. As Magnify didn't need any obvious actions, it was quickly to show its effects. Opposite to him, German Sparrow, who held Death Knell and wore a half-top hat, was floating in midair with strong gusts of wind swirling around him. He didn't make it in time to stop Earl of the Fallen from successfully using this beyond her power, but in the next second, what Conus Kilger met in response wasn't a terrifying roar, but silence. The ordinary roar that was originally present had vanished. This was a random anomaly that brought about the concerto of light and shadows. Any external stimulus breaks the control of the threads. And even like such a dangerous external force that freaking would make him lose control would still break him free from initial control. That's crazy. So it's like, what's worse? Losing control or going insane, or like losing control or turning into a marionette. That's pretty cool. It's such a weird thing. Is like which is the lesser bad, right? Seriously, how unlucky. Konis Kilger thoughts slowly flashed past his mind. He didn't have the luxury of time to feel disheartened as he immediately made a second attempt. Whoa, this is a long chapter. I just realized how long this chapter is. He raised his right hand in an unsteady manner, aiming the Rivdet shout of despair at German Sparrow, who stood 100 meters from him and was about to pull the trigger. At the same moment, the strong winds that blew at his right hand suddenly disintegrated and in an inward fashion turned into the sacred eddies. Scattered eddies. I love this fight. I'm definitely gonna re-listen to it off stream because it's kind of trippy. There's a lot of intricates behind it. Long story short, there's a lot of intricates behind the I outsmarted your outsmart, or I luckied your luck. Like I lucked your luck. Earl of the Fallen Disorder, Konis had used this to withstand German Sparrow's interference. Following that, there was a series of thumping sounds like a machine gun. Rivdert's shout of despair spewed out dangerous bullets without stopping. They keep going. It's like a barrage. German Sparrow's black trenchcoat covered the body, jerked repeatedly, but he wasn't hit. The bullets grazed his outline and flew into the distance, shattering the Shattering the windows and walls, causing one of the buildings to collapse in silence. Bang, 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 bang. 5 shots. The subsequent bullets stormed continued their barrage, and finally German Sparrow was struck repeatedly. Amidst the splattering blood, German Sparrow kept struggling and shaking in the strong gust of wind like a paper figurine, looking as though he was about to tear apart at any moment. Bang, bang, bang. 3 shots. The strange revolver finally stopped its roar, and apart from... I wonder if Klein's gonna be dual wielding his freaking guns now. Bro's 20 chapters away from peak. Shh, I'm getting excited. This is gonna be a hype as week then, huh? Shaping in the strong gust of winds like a paper figurine. I skipped a sentence. Bang, bang, bang. No, I was at 3 bangs. The strange revolver finally stopped its roar, and amid and apart from his head, German Sparrow was riddled with nasty gaping holes. Typically speaking, there was definitely a state that only the dead had. However, German Sparrow continued controlling the spear by threads as though he was unaffected. The ridiculously wound on his body slowly but resultantly healed. Damn, it's gonna be good, dude. This was the effect of the flower blood. This German Sparrow was actually Uni. This German Sparrow was actually an Uni. The reason why he didn't die in that storm-like attack was because he had released all his accumulated luck. It was also because Konis Kilger was sufficiently unlucky. In the roar of despair, the bullets brought forth was nothing to a marionette. Seeing that the violent attack failed to achieve the despaired effect, and that the amount of time he had left was to save himself, dwindled, Konis Kilger followed his thoughts, outplanned, and slowly relaxed his 5 left fingers without any thought. The iron-skinned pocket watch left his palm and dropped to the ground. At such a critical moment, Konis Kilger decisively gave up the concerto of light and shadow and made it stay far away from Buckland so as to avoid the effects of its random anomaly. Next, he might only have 1 or 2 chances to save himself. If another anomaly were to happen, the outcome was irreversible. The sealed artifact, which was a mixture of half order and disorder, quickly plummeted to the ground. Konis Kilger moved his fingers with great difficulty as he faced German Sparrow, whose wounds were quickly healing. He originally had 2 choices. One was to use the third method he had originally thought, or to save himself, an action only required a mere thought. The other was to magnify his enemy's injuries and make him die on the spot. However, when Konis Kilger was still able to think relatively quickly, he didn't expect German Sparrow to not die after suffering so many gunshots. Even his control over the spirit body threads wasn't affected. He kept control. There was no subsequent follow-up to his plan, so GG. And at this moment, his brain was already like a sluggish mush. He had no way of thinking too much. He didn't wish to waste any more time as he followed his plans. What plans? Wanny? Because they're saying Wanny. Whoosh! Around German Sparrow, who wore a transparent glove and iron-black revolver, the strong gust of winds that held him up suddenly intensified and sent him flying up high. Whoosh! With the help of the strong winds, German Sparrow raced to the pitch-black sky under the watch of the gigantic crimson moon. Earl of the Fallen magnified. The strong wind that helped German Sparrow fly had been magnified into a hurricane. This way, the distance between him and Konis Kilger was stretched beyond 150 meters. That would terminate the process of turning the latter into a marionette. Seeing his goal achieved, Konis Kilger had yet to regain his freedom had his expression turn complicated bit by bit. The hurricane rapidly expanded and swept over to him, engulfing him and throwing him high into the sky. It made it impossible for the distance between him and German Sparrow to open up. He was truly unlucky. Under the night sky, amidst the moonlight, the two figures became smaller. Soon the hurricane returned to normal as their momentum slowly diminished. Seizing this opportunity, Conus Kilgore, nearly frozen mind, had another idea. Stop. He stopped maintaining his power of fight and used gravity to plummet down like a meteor. A meteor, doing so in order to rapidly open up the distance from German Sparrow, okay? Then he ignored German Sparrow's ability to control the wind and pursue him. He slowly pulled his left arm in front of his body like it was filled with rust. It was an action of closing a door. He wanted to use the Earl of the Fallen's distortion to create a wall-like seal in the air, putting an obstacle between German Sparrow and him so that he couldn't carry out his pursuit. At that moment, the marionettes, the German Sparrows who were still alive underneath him, raised their left arms and made a gesture of firing a gun. So they're all using their air bullets. Bang, 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 bang. Bullets shot out, enveloping Conus Kilgore in midair. What the fuck, dude? After the shockwaves dispersed, Conus Kilgore was covered with several bloody holes. Due to the pain and the jolting of his body from the first few bullets striking him, he had finally snapped out of a state of having his spirit body threads being controlled. Oh, he broke free. The firing squad, having his spirit body threads being controlled, the speed of his thoughts rapidly recovered, so he broke free. Following that, he distorted the subsequent volley at the critical moment and distorted his injuries, preventing himself from dying. All he suffered were serious injuries, but nothing lethal. And German Sparrow, who had many mystical items and was swooping down from above, he was obstructed by the invisible wall. Where is our... wait, how are we going to get him now? He failed to catch up with another distortion. Conus Kilgore descent sped slowly down as he gently landed on the ground. Before he could do anything else, his body froze again as he stood stiffly on the spot. He felt as his hands and feet were resisting him and not listening to his commands. He felt that there was an unfamiliar object hiding in his body. What? Then he saw a figure walk out of Mayor Manor's master bedroom under gigantic crimson moon. So this is somebody else. Crimson moonlight, unless it's Klein again. And stand on the balcony. He had black hair. Oh, it's Klein. He held black hair. It's the real Klein. He held black hair and brown eyes, wearing a silk top hat and a black trench coat. His facial features were pronounced and was another German Sparrow. This German Sparrow right hand had the gesture of firing a gun. He then pulled back his hand and blew at it. This was Klein himself. That was Klein himself. When he shot out, wasn't an air bullet, but a parasite bullet developed with air bullets might. Wait. It was a parasite bullet created from Amon's Worm of Time, right? It was a parasite bullet created from a worm of time that Amon's avatar had. Oh, it says it right here, next line. When he shot out, wasn't an air bullet, but a parasite bullet delivered with an air bullet's might. It was a parasite bullet created from a worm of time that Amon's avatar had left behind. It would... Fuck, man. I'm definitely going to listen to this right now at the gym. I need to listen to this again. It would create a worm of time that couldn't live too long, allowing it to parasitize the target and become controlled by the user, and then you take initial control? Klein had deliberately taken out the bullet, held it in his hand specifically to wait for this opportunity. So he was waiting. He was waiting for Conus Kilgore to throw away Concerto of Light and Shadow and to not have the ability to dodge or use distortion. Fucking literally, I outsmarted your outsmart. The former was predicted when the Earl of the Fallen spirit body threads reached the state of initially being controlled, just because he couldn't allow the random anomalies to influence the attempts to save himself, and the latter, I guess he really didn't save himself. To influence his attempts to save himself, and the latter was about patience. Just moments ago, his patience had paid off. A chance appeared. Klein was the first to raise his hand and shoot. Without the random anomalies affecting the outcome, he had accurately shot a parasite bullet in Conus Kilgore's body. So he's using a parasite bullet to parasitize his... Thank you, D. He's using a worm of time to parasitize his opponent. And then when he's parasitized, he can officially take initial control without any problems because he's been parasitized, or he just stays parasitized. Wait, let me keep reading. Briefly unable to control his body, Conus Kilgore looked at German Sparrow on the balcony to remove his top hat, pressed his hat to his chest, and bowed slightly. He's just bowing. and bowed slightly at him under the gigantic crimson moon. As German Sparrow's trench coat fluttered, his thoughts had turned sluggish. Damn, dude. What the fuck? That is such a badass fight. All right. We're going to leave it there just because I have to end stream in 8 minutes. Let me just quickly do my timestamps. What a fucking fight. We knocked out a good amount of chapters today. One. I put 2Z. What the fuck was that? 131. 34. All right. So, overall thoughts. Thank you. Let me read you guys' messages. Let me quickly update this so I know where we're resuming tomorrow. But yes, he can force his adversaries to be weaker and not move, then can easily take control of his body strings. Got it. There is no arc of this fight. Fuck. But that's what he did basically. He waited until he dropped his guard, thinking he could escape. Once he let go of his sealed artifact, he used his parasite bullet, shot him with a parasite bullet. He hampered his movements, thoughts, and everything because he's been parasitized. Probably only briefly, right? But now that he's been parasitized, he's able to easily take initial control because he no longer has all those... He no longer has a stacked as items that was preventing Klein from doing that in the first place. Oh my god, man. These fucking demigod fights. I was able to follow. But holy shit, I almost got lost. I'll be honest, I kind of got lost. I was like, wait. And then I was like, okay. And then I was like, wait. What? Okay. Wait. Okay, I get it. I was going back and forth a lot. Not gonna lie, I slept through the stream. Can't wait for the VOD. It's okay, dude. Hey, Misty, because you fell asleep during the live stream, I forgot to update my timestamps for one chapter. I didn't realize until halfway through the stream. No, I'm fucking kidding, dude. Now you get some rest. Bro, gonna have to get high to understand the higher level fights. I'm gonna have to be at a higher playing field to understand these fights. All right, that's basically it. I'm hyped though. I'll be honest. I'm genuinely excited to see like a actual like sequence 1 fight or like a sequence 0 fight. I'm excited to see like the full fight, like whatever is his opponent at the end game. Like I'm excited to see like the full fight Amon at full strength. Or like say Amon takes full control of like the Marauder pathway and becomes like a sequence 0 or whatever. Like maybe Amon's goal is to hit sequence 0, right? And become like the new Marauder god and whatnot. Like maybe the Fool will face off against like the Marauder sequence 0 and like, ooh, it's gonna be good. I'm excited to read those fights. Easy, you actually scared me with the timestamps. Don't worry, I only forgot once. And somebody reminded, I think D reminded me halfway through the chapter like, yo man, where's Misty? We forgot to update. No, but we're good. Bro is cooking. I have the timestamps for myself so that you can skim through the VOD where it tells you. But yeah, I forgot to update it right here. But point is, this was a good fight. Bro is cooking. I don't know what I cooked. Oh, maybe future fights. Yo, Mystery, I told him to say that to scare you. Dude, I'm excited to see a fucking sequence 0 fight. I'm ready, bro. Just fucking give it to me, man. I am ready. Well, look, this was a good fight. We saw 2 Demonesses, and we realized how strong we are. When it comes to Demoness fight, we can take on 2 Demonesses. Easy, no cap. Easy in a fight. In a fight, it'd be pretty easy to take on 2 Demonesses. I'd probably win against them. If it comes down to a fight, I can take them on. Easy fight. We also learned that for Klein, a demigod fight isn't that bad. He's been doing pretty good. Long story short, we learned that we can take on 2 Demonesses in a fight. In a fight. Sure, buddy. Sure, buddy. All right. Other than that, Klein is really strong in fights now. I'm so lost in my thoughts right now. Oh, we're dragging out this outro, huh? We are definitely dragging out this outro. Oh yeah, I should be backing up these videos on the cloud and make more space on my PC. Long story short, peace. Have a beautiful day. And if you like, feel free to check out our other videos we uploaded yesterday that we spaced out. if you guys can, it mean the world to me. If you just just hurry it up, end it, finish it already, pull the plug, Later, guys. No, I'm kidding. Well, it mean the world to me if you guys check out the Soul Forge video or just any other video, Shadow Slave. Just it mean a lot if we check out the other videos. I know we're not mostly here for that. We're primarily here for Lord of the Mysteries, but I think it'd be fun just to check them out. I guess it'd help. But other than that, peace. I'll see you guys all soon. And Friday's episode 11 react should be a little fun. I gotta show you what I'm thinking. Hold up. Give me a sec. I took a screenshot. Give me a sec. Hold up. I think I can pull this one off. Give me a sec. Hold up. Let me find the picture. All right, hold up. Let me go on Discord. I think I can pull it off. Everybody just dips. That'd be pretty funny. Like, all right, later, guys. Let me see. Let me just open up Discord. 24. This one. I think our episode 11 reaction might be a little fun. Look, I think I can do it. I think I can pull it off. Oh, chat is disabled right here. Sorry, I didn't update it. There's no chat. But I think I can pull it off. Episode 11, we're probably gonna get more demon-esque shit, right? So we're gonna have to take out the wig for old time's sake. We've only used it once. We've only used that wig once. So we can take out the wig. We got the wig. We got the top hat. And I got the makeup. Is this black or blue? I think this is black. Yeah, it's black. We'll use black face paint, but I think I can do it. I can do that. I can do this, and I can do this. I think we might be able to pull it off. All right, guys. Peace. Have a beautiful day. And I'm going to see you guys all very, very soon. All right, later, guys. Wait, I'm trying to find the stop record button. Found it. All right, later. Is that blue? Fuck, I don't have blue. No, is it blue? Oh shit! Did I say that? I meant black face paint. Did I pause? Yes, blue. Is that blue? I think I have blue. We'll use blue face paint. Wow. I said that? There's no way I said that. Oh, wow. That's crazy. I didn't take a long pause, did I? All right. Yo, bro, almost canceled myself. Holy shit, that would have been so bad. Woo! Good thing we said paint at the end. Right, guys? Whew. All right. Peace. We're gonna use blue face paint. Later, guys. I got a little sweaty. We dodged a bullet. Blue Man Group and the Smurfs and Avatar people gonna be hating. Paint coming in clutch. Paint came in clutch. Paint came in clutch. All right, later, guys.